It is May 20th. It is day 121 of the Trump presidency. Let's talk about the headlines today. You may have already heard that the government is planning to hold a vote this evening. Well, this morning, 1 a.m., Wednesday the 22nd. At 1 in the morning, they're planning to hold a vote to try to pass the budget again. Now, what we're hearing is that people are, and I believe it's fairly public, that people are being threatened with being primaried if they don't vote yes. So they are bullying people into voting for this. My expectations are that it's going to pass at some point in the next few days. I don't think that they're going to, again, I don't think that they're going to allow people to continue saying no. I know that last I heard, Trump was heading down there, and I think he's going to be putting direct pressure on people. I mean, I don't even know if that's legal, but they've never cared about that up until now. So I would expect this to pass. Unfortunately, a lot of people are going to be losing access to their Medicare and Medicaid. There are all kinds of implications of this bill, including the fact that it raises taxes on the poorest people in this country. Yeah, it's a lot. I just wouldn't be surprised. Don't let yourself be devastated if you wake up to the news tomorrow morning that it has passed, because I think that that's likely. It's not for sure. There's a lot of pushback, and there's a lot of people that don't want to do this. But as we've seen throughout the course of the last several months, people are doing things that people are shifting their positions. And again, I think we all know why, but it doesn't matter why, does it? If they vote for it and if it passes, then that's what is going to happen. It's going to cause a pretty extreme amount of chaos in the country. And while that is devastating, as it is, and I'm so sorry, cattail. And, people will lose their lives because of this. I mean, people have already lost their lives because of Doge and Trump's policies. It is going to hopefully send the message home to some of the people that are some of the people that voted for this administration that are relying on Medicare and Medicaid are going to no longer have access to that. So, it could cause some backlash, and that is not a bad thing. There will always be an upside to the worst thing that could ever happen. Even if it takes us into some pretty extreme levels of darkness first, which seems to be what's happening. In this budget is $25 billion for something called a Golden Dome defense system that Trump wants to build. It's similar to Israel's Iron Dome, and it supposedly uses the most cutting-edge technology to even have space-based sensors that intercept missiles and stuff. Okay, whatever. Sounds like he's planning to get into a lot of wars, to be honest with you. I would prefer to live in a world that is moving away from this type of crap, because we have people that are starving to death, and our infrastructure is crumbling, and we have to fight climate change. But, here we are spending $25 billion so that we can not care if the entire world hates us because they won't be able to kill us. Anyways, it's very dystopian. I think it's a poor use of our money. I think if you need that, it probably means that the country that you live in is acting in a way that is shitty, that is drawing a lot of ire from the rest of the world, which is true right now. It's absolutely true. Unfortunately, migrants are now being deported to South Sudan, and these migrants are not from South Sudan. They're from Myanmar and Vietnam. So there has already been a court order that has prohibited the Trump administration from sending immigrants to third countries like this, countries that they've likely never been to, that they don't speak the language. There's nothing for them there, nothing awaiting them there. They just do it anyways. So this violates court orders. Will anyone get them back? I mean, we know Abrego Garcia is not back. And, they're still flooding the news cycle. So not to say that there aren't people working on that case still, but the public sentiment moves forward because we're constantly being distracted with fear, this campaign of fear that this administration is, honestly, it's like psychological weaponry, really. So Kristi Noem, what is she? The head of the Homeland Security, I think. She doesn't even know what habeas corpus means. And she was asked in a courtroom today what habeas corpus means. And I watched the clip. And she said that habeas corpus gives the president the power to arrest whoever he wants. That's literally the opposite of what habeas corpus means. Habeas corpus means that the government must provide a public reason for the detainment and arrest of anyone, and they must be given due process. You can't just take someone off the street and put them in jail with no explanation. So again, this is like, it's, not to infantilize this or turn it into a children's book or dystopian teen novel, but it's literally like it's like Alice in Wonderland through the looking glass. Everything that they're doing, it's like the reverse. So whenever they say that they're pro-Constitution, they're literally doing everything in their power to destroy the Constitution. Just like they don't even know. I mean, the other thing is, maybe I'm being dramatic about it because the truth is, a lot of this administration, they probably have like very low IQs. A lot of them probably read at like a 4th grade level. I'm not even kidding. She didn't know. She doesn't know. Because she's not qualified. She should be on the show Real Housewives. She has no business in this government. In any government. She does fit in with this current administration, but she doesn't know how to run her department, as is evidenced by everything that they're doing. So that's very stressful because it's a really big deal for them to suspend habeas corpus without even understanding the implications or knowing what they're doing. And she doesn't give a shit. She's just a lapdog. Anyways. In more horrible news that is, I'm sure, was bad advice that was taken from some idiot with literally no medical degree, the Trump administration has decided to limit access to COVID shots to only like elderly people or people that are immunocompromised. There's no, as far as like allowing people the freedom to their own body is concerned, it's funny how Republicans have no problem aggressively attacking other people's bodies and absolutely not allowing them to make decisions. I have not even brought up, I'm so sorry, I don't know her name. There is a case of a young woman in Alabama, I believe, 30 years old, who was pregnant, 9 weeks pregnant, and she was denied life-saving health care. She had, I believe, an aneurysm in her brain. She is brain dead, and they are keeping her body alive, trying to gestate a 9-week-old fetus, which means that they would need to keep her alive for like 8 more months. And they have to probably pump her body full of hormones. A dead body doesn't make, I'm not going to go into it. The reason why I haven't reported on this is because it's so gruesome. And I have heard enough about it. I have not delved deeply into the detail. It's just so dark. And of course, it's a Black woman that this is happening to. It's so infuriating. And it's likely to also cost her family money. The family is begging them to take her off life support. She's brain dead and they're torturing her. Anyways, my point was Republicans are disturbed. They're like mentally deranged at this point. The people that are upholding these incredibly inhumane policies, that are doing these horrible things, sending people to war-torn countries with no resources and not even the ability to speak the fucking language. Anyway, I'm pissed today if you can't tell. So now they're going to be limiting access to COVID shots. It sounds like if you live in a home with somebody who has an immunocompromised system, like, I don't know if you can get a COVID shot to protect them. I mean, it's messed up. Hopefully, at this point, COVID has mutated enough that it is causing less long COVID, but I know a lot of young people that have POTS and other literal disorders, or that have never regained their ability to taste certain foods or smell normally. I am fortunate to not have had that symptom at any point. I never had my ability to smell go away. I know I had COVID at least twice. I mean, who knows? Like, a lot of us could end up with like heart disease. I don't even want to talk about it. This world is so dark sometimes. Human beings, the planet has its own form of darkness, obviously, but humans, I think the fact that humans could choose to be a better version of themselves and to be kind to not only each other, but the environment around them, and to work in tandem with the earth to live in a harmonious way that's not harmful to the environment, but we choose to do this instead. I think that is what makes it dark. It's not that, obviously you could look at animals that attack each other and say that there's an element of darkness to that. Of course there is. But again, humans have a level of intelligence that gives us the ability to make different choices, and we're not doing that. We could innovate in a way that protects ourselves and the planet, and we're choosing to do the literal opposite. Okay. So Trump was suggesting that there should be an investigation into whether or not Biden knew he was sick while he was in office. Honestly, it's so trashy. I feel like Biden would probably say, go for it. I can almost guarantee you, because after a certain point in a man's life, they stop doing prostate exams. Because, to be honest with you, after you're a certain age, if you get cancer, most people opt out of super aggressive treatment. They just let themselves die. Like, your body after a certain age almost for sure has cancer in it, bro. Or heart disease or diabetes or all three. It's just the way it is. Like, stuff stops working and things happen. So they stop aggressively pursuing these types of diagnostic tests that could be almost more harmful than the thing. And also, again, I don't know if Biden has made a decision to go through a bunch of rounds of chemo, or I don't know if they're still in the process of choosing that. But anyways, long story short, there is a very high likelihood that Biden had no idea. Or perhaps, hey, just because he's the president doesn't mean he's not capable of being in denial about his health. Come on. Think about the amount of pressure that was on that man. And there's got to be some part of his brain that thought on some level that it probably wasn't a great idea to be president at his age, but he felt like he owed it to this country. I can tell you for a fact, when they were talking about running him the time before, he just didn't, right after Beau died, I could tell that was the last thing he wanted to do. And I think he did it begrudgingly even this time. And I don't think I think there's a huge part of him that just absolutely did not want to do it. And, it is a huge sacrifice. And it kind of ruins people's lives forever in so many ways. The stress that they have to go through, again, I would not want that job, dude. Never in a bajillion years. No, thank you. Anyways, okay. The UK has suspended free trade with Israel, well, free trade talks with Israel, and also sanctioned the West Bank settlers. Things are heating up for Israel. Other countries are stepping in and saying, this is like, enough's enough. No more. I did, however, fact check about whether or not China broke through Israel's blockade to deliver aid, and they didn't. That was falsified. There's a lot of weird propaganda videos about China like telling Israel that they have to do this or that, or threatening Israel, and it's all it's propaganda, it's misinformation. I don't know who's putting these videos out, but there's videos on TikTok with like hundreds of thousands of likes saying that China's threatening Israel, and there's nothing. I mean, unless it's being filtered through on American Google or something, I can't find anything about it. So I don't know. In any case, absolutely pressure is coming down on Israel, and Israel is continuing to deliver aid, but they're also like killing people as fast as they possibly can. I know that hundreds more people have been killed in the last 48 hours in Gaza. Okay, this is another unfortunate story about Israel. U.S. intelligence suggests that Israel might be planning a strike on Iranian nuclear facilities. As we know, Trump has been pursuing, a nuclear deal with Iran through Tehran, and that he's over there. Well, I don't know if he's over there. He's talking to them and negotiating with them on this issue. So this absolutely is somewhat of a ramification of the break between Trump and Netanyahu, because this would be a huge slight to Trump for Israel to swoop around behind Trump's back and basically start a war with Iran while he's trying to like come up with a more diplomatic solution with them. The reason that U.S. intelligence thinks this is because they've intercepted Israeli communications. They've also been observing their military, and I guess their military is running like air drills, basically. So some people in the intelligence community think that maybe they're running air drills knowing that those are being observed as a way of like saber rattling and saying like, make a deal or else we'll attack you. And some people think that it's not a bluff and that they're really going to do it. In any case, if Trump makes a deal with Iran that does not include the removal of all of their uranium, if it does not include the destruction or removal of all their uranium, then people believe, the intelligence community believes, that an attack from Israel on Iran is much more likely. So that's cool, bro. Just more things for us to look forward to. Yeah, I'm obviously bummed out about that. But again, keep in mind that we really do live in a world where things are turning on a dime. Like, it could change by tomorrow. So you never ever want to get too sad or too happy. If it looks like the ship came in that's going to save us, let's wait until we're on it and safely home. If it looks like the ship is coming in to kill us, let's wait until it does, because you just don't know. Things are changing too quickly for us to celebrate or grieve right now. Let's just let it all continue to play out. Okay, this is the last story tonight, and I just tossed this in because it's a little bit funny, but sources are saying that Trump actually began asking for that plane from Qatar back in January. And that Qatar, it wasn't a gift that Qatar was trying to give to Trump, that Trump was like begging them for this plane and wanted this plane for Air Force One. There's also an additional rumor that Qatar has been trying to give, that it has more than one of this plane that is like all decked out in gold, and that it costs so much to fly and all this stuff that they don't even want it. And that I think that they gave one of them to Turkey, and they couldn't even give this plane away, supposedly. I don't know. So these are the two stories on the street. Anyways, that's what I have for you tonight. I wonder how George, oh man, did we ever report on that? I don't know, and I can't remember. It's not George Soros. What is the guy's name who went to jail, who was always in the news, who is like, there's a lot of pictures of him in drag. His first name is George. I can't think of his last name. He's in jail. He was sentenced to 7 years in jail for fraud. Was he in Congress? Dude, this is going to drive me crazy. I know you know who I'm talking about. He started doing cameos. He got very famous for a little while, and then he kind of dropped out of the news cycle. Anyways, I wonder how he's doing in jail. And I don't even know if he's there yet, or if he's like waiting. Like, I don't know how that works. When somebody gets sentenced to jail, do they take you straight out the back and just like put you in a van? Or it probably depends on what you've done, right? I don't think they're giving him an opportunity, or maybe he can appeal while he's in jail, but I think he's got to go to jail. Dang it, this is going to drive me crazy. George, all right, I won't make you watch my failing memory on camera, but I will see you tomorrow. Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure I'm not lying to you. Yes, I will see you tomorrow. Love you guys.